fun. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you guys have been to an Iowa football game? So just about everyone here. One thing being a student is buying tickets to these football games is extremely hard. Once these sell out on the Iowa website, you're forced to go to Facebook Marketplace and interact with these Facebook Marketplaces where sometimes there's over 80,000 people in there, but there's not 80,000 students there. Why? Because people are on there trying to scam and do phishing, shady stuff. Also, trying to sell a ticket or buy a ticket is extremely difficult. You need people to come on here and comment and then add them on Facebook, message them, and then go through a whole process. And then after that, hope you don't get scammed. Some of the problems with this, scams frequently happen on these Facebook group chats. The accessibility to the tickets is also very inconsistent because there's no way to identify both supply and demand in the same listing. And then also pricing is really unknown due to no live market. There's nothing telling you that, hey, this ticket just sold for 200 bucks. It's more everything's under the counter, and honestly, if someone gets scammed, no one even knows besides yourself. That's why we came up with SeatStock, a dedicated marketplace to protect customers from scams and keep people informed on live data that actually matters. So market validation we got is Student Seats is one of the competitors in the space, and they have 10,000 users just at the University of Alabama. This is a huge problem among so many universities. There's over 50 universities we identified that have student tickets that go for some sort of value, whether it's 20 bucks to, in Alabama's case, sometimes 200 bucks. Onward State's a small newsletter from Penn State made by their students, and one of the articles they read was talking about these student tickets. And in the article, they were talking about how they sell out within minutes, and then once they sell out, students try selling these tickets for hundreds of dollars, and there's no marketplace to protect these students. So ultimately, some students just get scammed, like I was saying before. Looking at the market size of student tickets and also just live entertainment tickets in general, the student ticket market is worth around $100 million, and because there's no competitor, that's why we want to go in there and create this dedicated marketplace. But looking at this from the grand scope of things, the ticket market is actually worth $12 billion. That's including concerts, tickets where non-students would sit for Iowa football games, and just live entertainment as a whole. The business model would work is we would make 20% commission on every single transaction. We would take 10% from the seller and take 10% from the buyer. This is pretty standard in the market. Looking at competitors like SeatStock and StubHub, they take anywhere between 15 to 20%. So starting a little lower to make sure our customers feel comfortable with it is something we want to do. And looking at an achievable market, we think going for the Big Ten is totally achievable because that's very local and native for us. So $20 million is what that market's worth. And with about making $8 on every ticket, we think we can do 20% of that $20 million. Looking at the competition, we're trying to deliver where other ticket marketplaces fall short. Student Seats is the only marketplace that does student tickets. So really trying to be better than them is one thing we really want to do. So trying to be better than them is we want to include bidding on tickets. Being a college student, money's not always the biggest thing you have. So allowing students to bid on tickets gives freedom for the buyer to say, hey, I don't want to pay 70 bucks. Let me go pay 50 bucks and hopefully someone accepts it. And then with bidding, now we can have sellers instantly sell tickets because people are bidding on tickets. Let's say a seller needs money instantly, they can just go sell to the highest bid. And then having scalable technology, we really want to make sure that the technology we're putting out there is going to help us later down the road instead of spending a couple thousand to tens of thousands of dollars to build technology that's just going to be bad and ruined within a few months. And then also the biggest thing is preventing all scams. We want to make sure our customer service is top tier so we can retain these customers and make sure that we really have that dedicated marketplace to protect people from scams. And then our competitive advantage is we're going to be early to market for student tickets. This is big because there's only one other competitor, and in this $100 million market, there's one competitor. We should have not too much friction when trying to expand. And then also having bidding's huge. Bidding's big because now we're giving some of the power to the buyer. And like I said before, college students don't always have the most money, so giving some freedom to them to say, hey, I want to pay this much is really big. And then the instant sell kind of goes hand in hand with the bidding. To the seller's point, let's say you're trying to go out with your buddies one night and you need this ticket sold. No longer will you have to go and try to message 5 people. You can just sell to the highest bid and get your money instantly. And then having the scalable tech, that's going to help for later down the line and making sure that the product we put out is better than anything else on the market. And then so far the team right now is me and my partner Brady. Unfortunately my partner Brady couldn't be here right now, but the way we're operating this is I'm focusing on the buyer experience, making sure that whatever the buyer gets, whatever experience the buyer gets is the most top tier experience. And then vice versa for him, he's making sure that for the seller, whatever experience they get is the best experience possible. Thank you guys, and I'll open the floor for any questions.
All right, questions?
So looking at your team, you have the buyer experience and the seller experience. Do you have the technical experience to build something like this?
Yeah, so that's like one thing we're looking for right now. We're actually working with a group of people from Indiana, same age as us. They have the technical experience. Right now we're just working with them to try to get a feel like, hey, we really want to get into this together. So they have the technical skills right now, so they're kind of doing the steps to get towards building this app. And then once we get closer to it, we're going to kind of determine like, hey, do we really want to work with these people? So giving us some leeway there before we actually bring them in is what we're doing right now.
So once you get this thing built, what is the plan for expansion? You're going to start at Iowa. What's your timeline?
So yeah, we want to really target the Big Ten right away. So getting in Iowa, Minnesota is probably going to be a big one. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan. We really want to target Ohio State and Michigan right away because those are really two big football schools. Myself and Brady have pretty good connections there. So in terms of marketing and understanding the landscape of how their tickets work, which for my understanding, their tickets work the same as here. We're just gonna, have advertising plans that we'll figure out at Iowa that we can just replicate at other schools to expand.
Is your competitor in like all of these markets that you want to enter, or are they just selected?
So Student Seats is pretty much only at Alabama. They have 10,000 users there, but then they have like 4,000 users scattered across like 4 or 5 schools. So majority of their fan base is at Alabama, where they're actually from as well. So they're not too competitive yet.
Josh, can you describe to me what the buyer's experience would be like? Say I'm interested in buying a ticket. What are they experience?
Yeah, so first you would download the app, you would sign up with your school email so we can just verify you're a student. And then let's say you want to go to the Northwestern game, you click on the Northwestern game, and you either have an option to buy it for the lowest ask, which is just, the seller saying, hey, I want to sell it for 70 bucks, but everyone above has it for more, so the lowest ask, or you can outbid on the ticket. If the highest bid's like 50 bucks, I would say putting in a bid for 55 is good because you have that highest bid. But if you want to go and just buy it for 70 bucks, you can buy it within, we're trying to do within 3 clicks to make this as simple as possible.
And then you're focusing on football, men's basketball, or what other sports?
So right now we're just going to do football just because fall, it makes it easy that football is the only big sport that's happening.
Okay.
But once we're ready to go for basketball and stuff, we're planning to do women's basketball as well, men's basketball, and then I'm thinking maybe hockey too for some schools. It's pretty big, and then depending on the school, maybe wrestling. I'll see if those tickets are anything to look into, but those are the big 3 for now.
So you mentioned women's basketball. Normally, I don't know about other schools, like at Iowa, students have the students for free if you're a student. So would you focus more on fans outside of students doing women's basketball?
Yeah, so that's actually something we're looking into. We want to focus on students right now and really build up that niche, and then once we kind of have a good market share of that, then we'll expand to like other tickets that were maybe like my parents would sit in that student section, for example. But that's kind of where we're at right now. And in terms of your point, the tickets are free. In some scenarios, having the tickets free works better on the marketplace because if we can show that, hey, this is a marketplace where people are buying and selling tickets, maybe some people just get these free tickets just to resell them, and then there's some transactions on our site.
So you mentioned that you'll be making money through your business plan by taking 10% from the seller, 10% from the buyer. Does that mean if I'm buying a ticket from you guys for say 50 bucks, I'll end up having to pay 55 and then tax as well?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so, if this is a bidding service, I'm picturing eBay, but it only has one product and they're exactly the same. So it'll just show you whatever the cheapest ticket is right now?
Yeah, so the plan is we're just gonna have like the databases connected to the listings, but you're only gonna be able to interact with the best possible listing because there's no point in showing you there's a ticket for $500 if the ticket's, the lowest ask is like $50.
Right.
So just making it easy and simple for the consumer to understand.
I like that.
And then once you get this up and running, what's your marketing plan looking like?
There's one plan where we really want to, get student organizations involved in this. One plan we have is using referrals to our advantage, and that kind of looks like we want to get, a couple people in different student organizations, and we want to actually do like a contest with them, where for the contest, for every person they get to sign up with their referral code, to download the app and interact with the app, it's going to bring up the, the pot of the competition by $1 or maybe $5. That's really big too, because getting to our niche market of the students like that with referrals that we can track pretty easily, like, hey, our customer acquisition cost is $5. That's a pretty good customer acquisition cost, especially if the lifetime value is 4 years and they're supposed to be spending like money every single week if they're buying or something.
Other questions? Yeah.
Why doesn't Ticketmaster sell student tickets?
That's a very good question. So the main reason why is they can't verify tickets. I actually spoke to the Vivid Seats one of the co-founders, and I also spoke to the Iowa ticketing directors. And ultimately, they can't verify students. The way we're going to verify students is making sure they sign up with their @uiowa.edu email. We're going to send them an email to just verify that that's a real email. And once we get the verification on their end, they're going to be free to interact with all of those things.
Any other questions?
So even if you're not a seller, you still need to verify that you're a student. You can't be a non-student and buy a student ticket.
Yeah, because also with that too, some of the student sections are a little more strict than others. We don't want people to buy on this site and then say, hey, where's your student ID? They don't have a student ID. So just making sure everyone on our platform is a student is something we really want to do, and make sure that no random people are on the site, essentially.
Will people have to put in their graduation years, and after their graduation happens, will you remove them from your site or app?
That's actually a really, really good point that I've never thought of before. I kind of just figured that if customers are on this, they're most likely going to be a student if they're using an email, and once they're not a student, they probably won't use it because they won't be here. That's a very good point, though, and I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, because I've had my UIO email since 2001. So you're like, I'm a student. No. Because and then kind of piggybacking off that, faculty and staff have UIO emails.
Yeah, that's one thing we're kind of talking about right now. If there's a way where we can do a single sign-on through the university where we can really verify, that's going to require a lot of communication with the university, and we're not too sure if they're even going to hand that over to us. So we're going to talk about it with people that we know in the university, but no guarantees.
Any other questions? If not, I will ask our traditional final question. What can we as the community do to help you?
So right now, biggest thing we need to do is build this app. So if you know any software engineers or yourself's a software engineer, I'd love to talk to you. And if you know anybody involved in Iowa, ticketing, or has any sort of big role that can help us get the school's approval and get this single sign-on, that would also be really good.
Very good. All right, let's give Josh a round of applause.